The Belmont Journal recently had the opportunity to visit Stop & Shop's Anaerobic digester in southern Massachusetts. I had the pleasure of talking with Roger Beliveau, the manager of distribution services in Stop & Shop's distribution facility. Let's listen in to what Beliveau had to say about Stop & Shop's Anaerobic digester.
Roger Beliveau. My title is Manager of Distribution Services in the Stop & Shop Distribution Center in Freetown, Mass. Because of the state of Massachusetts putting in a law that says you can't put organic material in the landfill any longer, we had to find other ways of handling that organic material. So there's a couple things we were doing. We were shipping it off to organic companies that were picking it up at the back of our stores. And this company, Divert Inc., came along and presented an idea that looked really interesting, which was this anaerobic digester. So thinking it all through and the cost of having the material taken away from the stores, this seemed like a really good idea and a good way to go about handling our organic material. So we began the process of actually building and starting up our own digester. This plant was built in 2016. We broke ground in 2015. We opened the actual digester up in January of 2016 and began to process material from that point. It's been a little over 2 years, 3 years, I mean. So it's material that's brought into our stores. We try to sell everything, obviously. We want to sell all our product. But at times things will go bad, or we can't donate them because they've gone expired past their expiration date. So we then take that material, we actually put it in large bins, and we build it up to the top of the bin, then we ship it back here to Freetown on our trailers coming back from the stores after delivering product to the store. Well, the basis of anaerobic digestion is oxygen-free. That's the first piece of it. So the digestion is done in an oxygen-free environment. But to get back to the beginning of it, what the material is done, we put the material into what we call a large hopper. That material is then pushed up through into what we call a mixing bowl or a masher. And inside that masher, we're creating what we call a slurry. The digester wants the liquid, not the actual material. They want the liquid out of that organic material that's coming through the process. So as we develop that liquid or that slurry, it goes into a sump, and the sump will then push that material up into we have two tanks. One is an EQ tank, which is actually the holding tank for the material, and then we have the actual reactor or the digester. The holding tank will feed the digester at a constant rate, whatever we set that at. 6 gallons per minute, 10 gallons per minute, whatever it is that needs to keep that digester operating. The digester has to stay full at all times. So when we first began the process, we actually had to fill the digester with seed to get the bacteria building. And it was about 40 tanker loads of material to start up a 1.2 million gallon reactor or digester. Now once you've done that, you can start feeding it material, and as you build it up, you fill it. Once it's full, it stays full. So in order to put more material in it, you have to take material out of it. This is where the real piece of the digester comes into play, because you get 3 byproducts out of this. You get water runoff, you get biogas, which is a methane gas, and you get a compost, a very dark, rich, black compost. The water is reused in the process to a degree. Some of it has to go down the sewage. And the methane gas is cooled down, fed to a generator, which then creates power for the site that we are sitting on right now, which is a 1 million square foot warehouse. The digester is capable of producing up to 40% of the energy that is needed to operate the entire facility. There's a number of materials that can go into this digestion process. You have grocery product that can go into it. It's really, you have to look at it as being an organic material. So food products, even pet food. You don't want non-organic material though. So we even take plants, not the soil, but we'll take the plants. Like the cuts from the florist department, when they do all the cut flowers and they start to wilt and they go bad, those can go into this process too. So it's really a lot of materials throughout a store that is able to go into this process. It's self-contained from the point of dumping the material into the process. It's not self-contained up until that point. So the containers with the material in it, the bins are fed in through the process of lifting that bin up and actually tipping it to dump it.
Sure.
Then it becomes self-contained from that point forward. So you can actually see it from here. You see two large, very large tanks. One's much larger than the other. One tank is a 1.1 million gallon tank, and the other one's a 100,000 gallon tank. They're very clean. There's no debris or sediment or anything running off the side of it. It's all self-enclosed. So, and the smell is really minimal because there are filters in the tanks to keep that odor from actually creating and coming out into the air. In the summertime, you might smell a little bit, but very, very mild, if you would. Our goal is to average about 95 tons per week of material going into it. So that would be small compared to a city doing it, because an entire city or town doing it would probably create much more organic material than I think we're doing. So the truck traffic coming in and out of the facility to handle the organic material that's coming into our facility averages on a daily basis between 175 to 190 trucks a day. Those same trucks would have been trucks that had left here earlier in the day to deliver product to the store, and they have to return. So on average, it'd be about 175 to 190 trailers a day that will go in and out of here. The operation, when I speak to 24/7, is truly 24/7. We have material coming in all day and all night. So our deliveries to our stores aren't just 6 hours during the day. It's 24 hours around the clock. We're delivering, whether we're delivering groceries or we're delivering perishable product, we're delivering product all throughout the day and the night. The number of employees to manage and operate the digester there's 24 Stop and Shop associates and 12 Divert associates that operate and maintain that facility 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. One of the issues that Stop and Shop was concerned with when we first thought about building a digester and putting it on this site was odor. We were very concerned that we have neighbors. We have, we're trying to be, environmentally correct, but we're also not going to upset our neighbors due to odor. So one of the things was making sure that the actual process in the digester, I won't go 100% odor free, but it is very much sustained within the process. The digestion process is, I could almost say, noise free. Outside of what happens when we first dump the product into the hopper and it rides up that conveyor, everything else is, you couldn't tell it was going on. You could go out there and listen to it. Even when the generator's running, you really don't hear a lot of noise. My opinion with the way the state and people are thinking about the environment and everything that goes with it, that's good for the environment, bad for the environment, I believe that things like the anaerobic digestion, whether it be anaerobic digestion or some other form of digestion, because there are different ways of doing that, I believe that is the up-and-coming thing, because what are we going to do with all that material if we don't find other ways to make it useful? And producing electricity, what better way to do it?